Good morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I told you guys I would go over this sheet again. So I'm going to clear it and I will go through this little inverse page again so you have something to look back at. And I'll do one or two of those. Okay. So, inverses. Inverses are how you undo a function, like sine x equals 1/2. We want to figure out what angle created this answer. We're going to inverse sine both sides. That really cancels that out. And x equals sine inverse of 1/2. Okay? And we can put that in the calculator. So our operation is do, our inverse is undo. What that means really for an equation, which I didn't talk about yesterday, inverse of an equation, when you graph them, will actually be mirror images. 3x minus 4, so that would start down here like at -4. It'd go up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1. It would look something like this. So this would be my f of x. What the inverse looks like is a mirror image of that. If I folded along this line, so this would go over here, and then I would have something like this. I want this to mirror image. Oh, sorry, I'm getting caught up in my axes. I was looking at the axes. So these would look, so this one, and then this one would be just about the same, and this would be about the same distance. So if we put these, I'm not drawing a very straight line, but if we put those in, if you put them in over this line, if you could fold your calculator, they would be mirror images of each other. They're really undoing. Okay? We're going to get to that part later. I just didn't have a lot of time, and I didn't want to confuse you yesterday. Okay? So, in honor of St. Patrick's Day, I will use green. All right, so I said there were 3 steps to finding the inverse. The first step is take your function notation, whatever it may be, and turn it into y. So down here, my first step, this is going to be y equals 3x minus 4. My next step, I'm looking for a darker green, some other green here. Okay, kind of tell them apart. Step 2, switch the x and y. Okay, so you're going to switch your x's and y. So this is x, and now this is 3y minus 4. Okay, when you switch that x and y, that's what gives us this mirror image over here. Okay, sorry, I'm a little sniffly. I touched the cats before I left home today, apparently. That got my nose going. Okay, so step 3 is now solve for y. So get y by itself. And once you do, you're going to write it with the appropriate notation as an inverse. So if it was g of x, you're going to put g of x. If it's f of x, you're going to write f of x. Whatever your notation was, you're going to rewrite it as this inverse notation. Okay? I'm going to mess that part up there. So we're going to have f of x raised to the -1, or whatever it was called. So I'm going to take x equals 3y minus 4, and I'm going to get that y by itself. So x plus 4 equals 3y. Divide by 3, divide by 3. So y equals x plus 4 over 3. But the better end answer is this inverse notation. And you have x plus 4 over 3. If I rewrote this, I would have x over 3 plus 4 over 3. And if I tried to graph that, I would need to go about 1 1/3 up, go up 1 over 3. And you can see that that's kind of what my slope was, up 1 over 3. So that's where it created that line. Okay? We're not going to be graphing for a while, so you don't have to worry about that aspect of it right now. Okay? All right, here's another problem. So my first step is to change that to y. So y equals x minus 3 all over 4. My next step, switch the x and the y. X equals y minus 3 over 4. Now I want to solve for y. So my first step, I'm going to give myself a little bit more room. I can either put 4 underneath each one of these, so it kind of looks like this over here. Instead, I'm going to multiply by both sides by 4 and just get rid of this 4 down here in one shot, because that's really 4 over 1. This is something over 4, and those reduce. So I have 4x equals y minus 3. And then I kill that fraction off way sooner. So now I can add 3 to both sides. So y equals 4x plus 3. And then take a second and rewrite it in the better inverse notation of g inverse of x, or g of raised to the negative 1 of 4x plus 3. Okay, oops, sorry about that. Okay, the steps to verify that functions are inverses of each other. So this is where yesterday's lesson comes back. You can do f of g of x, and you really could do both. If you were going to verify it, on your homework, I'm going to have you do both g, f, g, composition of functions of f, or g of f of x. Okay, and when you get that this answer equals x, or this answer equals x, as long as one of them equals x, the other one will, but it's a good practice to do it both directions. So we're going to do it both directions today. Okay, so verify that these are, in fact, inverses of each other. So what we're going to do, let's do the first part, f of g of x. So f of g of x, that's how we rewrite it first. Now, this is just replacement. Remember, this just means replace. So that gives me f of, what's g of x? All of this, negative 1/4 x plus 2. So now, everywhere in f that I used to have an x, I'm going to plug all of this. So negative 1/4 x plus 2. Okay, so now I have negative 4 times negative 1/4 x negative plus negative 4 times 2 plus 8. So up here, negative times negative is positive. This is really 4 over 1. So this, let me use a different color. This negative and this negative cancel each other off or become positive. This 4 and this 4 cancel. So I have an x plus negative 8 plus positive 8. Those two cancel each other off. So I do, in fact, have x. When you do a composition of function, one way or the other way, and you get the answer x, that means they are inverses. Let's do g of f of x, because you really should do both. So this really means g of f of x. So now I'm going to replace f of x in here. So this is negative 4x plus 8. So this means everywhere in my x function, or in my g function that I normally had x, I'm going to plug all that in. So that gets me negative 1/4, negative 4x plus 8 plus 2. So now when I distribute that, negative 1/4, so we have negative 1/4 times 4x, negative 4x, plus negative 1/4 times 8 plus 2. So negative times negative is positive again. Negative times negative. 1/4 times 4 is 1. So now I have x plus, if I take negative 1/4 times 8, I get negative 2 plus 2. Those cancel out, so I do, in fact, get x again. Okay. Whoop, dropped the pen. Okay, so here's another one. So I have f, ooh, that's a bigger one. Let's take that down. Okay, so I have f, oh, it's writing really big, f of g of x. This really means f of g of x, like this. So I have f of x minus 2 over 5. So I'm going to take 5 times x minus 2 over 5 plus 2. Well, those 5's cancel. So I get x minus 2 plus 2. Those cancel. And I get x. Okay. Let's go the other direction. So if I do g of f of x, I get, let's scoot it over, so I get g of 5x plus 2. So now I get 5x minus 2, or plus 2, minus 2, all over 5. There's nothing in those parentheses, or there's nothing acting on that parentheses. So I have 5x plus 2 minus 2, all over 5. Those two cancel out because they're both on top. So now I have 5x over 5. Now those reduce. So now I get x. So you can see that I can do it both directions. Okay. Now, I did this first one yesterday. When you have ordered pairs, to find the inverse. In this case, all you have to do is switch your x and your y. So the inverse of h will be 5, negative 3. 3, negative 1. 1, 1, I can't really tell how those switch. And 7, 4. That's it. Okay. So over here, find the inverse. So step 1, y equals negative 5x minus 7. Step 2, x equals negative 5y minus 7. Step 3, get y by itself. So, and then turn that back into our f of x notation with inverse. So over here, I'm going to take x equals negative 5y minus 7. I'm going to add 7 to both sides. X plus 7 equals negative 5y. I'm going to divide by negative 5. So y equals, or the inverse of f equals, x plus 5 over negative 5. And you can leave the negative 5 on bottom for these. That's okay. So you're going to do the same thing for 3, 4, 5. And then down here on 6, 7, 8, you are going to do f of g of x. And then you're going to do g of f of x. And when you get down here to the end, they both better equal x. So you're going to do that on 6, 7, and 8. Okay? So do those and see if you can get that turned in today so I can count you here for attendance. Get as much of this done as you can. Okay? And then tomorrow, there's going to be a review sheet over all of this. So for Thursday and Friday's work, you will have just a review sheet of this stuff. Okay? Monday, we'll look at some more stuff. Tuesday will be review. And Wednesday is supposed to be our our mini test, our very short test. But we'll have to talk about that next week because juniors are going to be taking the that science test. And I'm not sure how that's going to work. Okay? So just plan for maybe an assessment next week, but definitely more of this. Okay? Have a great day.